Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the July meeting of your Virginia Board of Elections of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Let's have the roll call, please.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Here.
Vice Chair Dance.
Here.
Dr. Stolley.
Here.
Mr. Peterson. I see a wave. Secretary Alvis Long here.
Great. Thank you very much. I want to thank Senator Peterson for joining us remotely today. I know he's a busy guy in a courtroom somewhere, so we appreciate you joining us. All right. Next order of business is approval of the minutes.
All right. Mr. Chairman, the May 27th and June 17th, 2025 State Board of Elections meeting minutes have been distributed to the board for their review. If there are no corrections or additions, then I would request that you ask for a motion to approve them as distributed and presented.
Is there a motion? So moved.
I second.
Thank you. Call the roll. We'll do them in a block.
All right.
Or is that okay? One individual votes.
We could do it since Mr. Peterson wasn't at the first.
Okay, we'll do them. So let's do this act on May 27.
So we need a motion for that then.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
This is for the May 27th meeting. Chairman
Aye.
O'Bannon. Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolley.
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right,
We need a motion for the June
June
17th.
17.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolley.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. So we'll now move to public comment. As you know, we have a system where we'll take public comment from people that are physically here. Then we'll take public comment online with the reminder that for your public comment to be registered online, you will need to be both heard and seen. And we respectfully request folks keep their comments to about 3 minutes. Anybody here that would like to speak on any of the topics that we have on our agenda or anything else, since it's a public mic? All right, hearing none, is there public comment from people online?
Miss Ann Gregorian?
Ms. Gregorian, welcome.
Yes, hello. Thank you for taking my comments. So first, I would like to speak to the board's public comment policy itself, and I would like to once again request that the board reinstate comment during agenda items so the board can be proactive rather than reactive to public concerns. Second, I would like to publicly congratulate Norfolk Electoral Board member Marianne McKay on her absolute vindication of wrongdoing and the dismissal of all charges by the Norfolk Circuit Court Judge Everett Martin. Board member McKay's actions should have been easily identifiable by the SBE as legal and permissible under Virginia law. So congratulations to her on her reinstatement. I would also like to voice concern with the lack of SBE oversight of college interns placed in the registrar's offices under the Cyber Navigator program for the express purpose of evaluating, identifying, and advising on the locality's cybersecurity vulnerabilities. It's alarming that ELECT is allowing election critical infrastructure to be accessed by individuals who have not received a standard background check, hold no security clearance, and are not required to be U.S. citizens. This is a direct violation of Presidential Executive Order 14248, Section 6A, which prohibits all non-citizens from being involved in the administration of any federal election, including by accessing election equipment, ballots, or any other relevant materials used in the conduct of federal elections. I request the board prohibit further participation in this program until a review of these security issues is resolved. And finally, I would like to request that ELECT utilize the expanded access to the DHS SAFE program for verification of citizenship status. DHS has improved the program to provide batch verification requests for verifications at no cost. ELECT is now able to run its entire voter list for verification with DHS to include Social Security and death matching. It remains a mystery why elect would continue to engage in a shadowy ad hoc procedure using outdated DMV verification of citizenship when they have been granted clear statutory authority for well over a decade to conduct their own verifications. I request this board amend the Administrative Code 2040 and comply with the overdue legislative mandate imposed by SB 1077, passed in 2013. It requires that the state board shall promulgate rules and regulations governing the use of the immigration status and citizenship status information received from the SAVE program. To date, this mandate remains unfulfilled. I thank you for your attention to my concern.
And thank you very much for your comments. Next.
I have no further public comment.
I'm sorry, may I speak, please? Is
I
my
have
video on?
Michelle. Yes.
Great. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Cantor-Cohen. I'm the Policy Director at Fair Election Center. We're a nonpartisan organization focused on voting and elections. And I have a comment to item number 9 on the agenda, the voter residency form. This is the update to the voter residency form as related to the change in the voter registration deadline effective today. At the end of the paragraph, this is on page 79 of the PDF agenda, if that's helpful. And the paragraph on the form discusses that if the information being asked for isn't returned to the Office of the General Registrar by the deadline, the registration application will be denied. I'm paraphrasing a bit. The second sentence, the next sentence, which is the final sentence of the paragraph, says then you may either appeal the denial to the circuit court or reapply, providing complete information anytime before the next applicable registration deadline. We believe this should reference the opportunity to register at the time of voting as allowed by the Virginia Code, so that the form is not confusing anybody about the opportunity to register to vote and vote a provisional ballot to be assessed after their time of voting. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Next, I have Joan.
Yes, hi, Joan Port, President, Leader Women Voters of Virginia. I'd like to reiterate what Michelle just said on that form that is required changes by the advanced voter registration. We suggest that the end reads something like registration at the time of voting as allowed under the Virginia Code, just to reflect the same day voter registration laws that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have no further public comment.
All right. Thank you. Next agenda item is Commissioner's Report. Commissioner Beals.
Chairman O'Bannon, Vice Chair Dance, and members of the board. As this is the first meeting of the new fiscal year beginning on July 1st, we have several items on the agenda today which require your review and updating, which is why they're being brought forth for your attention. I did want to mention 2 items that are not on the agenda, but which were also due to be available as of July 1st. The first item is the electronic filing of independent expenditure reports. This feature is now live and available on our website. Previously, independent expenditure reports were filed via fax, with some submissions also sent by email for legibility. This new feature makes these reports easy to file and easy for the public to view as well. I would like to thank Tammy Alexander and our IT team for working to automate this process. The second item that I wanted to mention is that the first campaign finance review report is also available today. This new report was required by legislation that passed in 2022 and went into effect in 2024. The first review report covered the 2024 election cycle and looked at the campaign committee filings of 7 local candidates, focusing on mathematical accuracy and facial completeness of their filings. The committees were found to have an overall compliance rate of 84%. This report is required to be delivered to the governor, the General Assembly, and this board, and it is available to the public on the Department of Elections website under the Campaign Finance tab and on LIS. In 2025, the review is required to include all statewide candidates for office, 10% of the House of Delegates candidates, and 1% of local candidates. Again, I would like to thank Tammy Alexander for her work on this report. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any members of the board have any questions? Ms. Beals, I do want to thank you for what you all did with the cost of the list. You might want to just remind the public of that.
That's another feature that is available as of July 1st. The cost of voter data in Virginia is being reduced by 90%. That is for every kind of voter list that we provide that is available to parties specified under law, such as candidates, committees, PACs, and political parties. That's something that we've wanted to do for a long time. We were happy to get it done.
Great, thank you. Next item is certification of the June 17th primary results. Mr. Cronin?
Everyone hear me? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Before the board today are abstracts of votes for contests included in the 2025 June primary. These include the Democratic nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, and 9 Virginia House of Delegate seats, and the Republican nominee for 8 Virginia House of Delegate seats. Per Virginia Code, the results for these contests must be endorsed and subscribed on a certified statement from the Board of Elections. Upon completion of the election, local general registrars entered all relevant election data into the election night reporting software in the Virginia Election and Registration System, also known as VERIS. In accordance with Virginia Code, after the local electoral boards conducted provisional ballot meetings and canvasses to ascertain and certify election results for their localities. Upon completion of canvass, the general registrars forwarded their localities' certified abstracts of votes to the Department of Elections. Upon receipt of the abstracts, in order to ensure accuracy and completion, elect staff completed the following: confirmed all required abstracts were completed and submitted, reviewed votes cast, ballots cast, and turnout comparisons using validation errors found by the election night reporting software and others found by manual analysis, and asked localities to, we good? All right, I'm gonna keep going. And asked localities to resolve and or explain any issues identified. We also ran turnout versus voting credit reports and asked localities to resolve and or explain any issues identified. And then finally, we compared the results, listened the abstracts to the results entered in election night reporting software to ensure accuracy. Therefore, it is elect staff's recommendation that the board certify the statements to be correct and sign the statements. There's a suggested motion in the board's working papers, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, after reviewing the abstracts of votes cast in the 2025 June primary elections, I move that the board certify the statements to be correct and declare the winners of each primary to be that party's nominee for the November 4th, 2025 general election.
Thank
Right.
you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
And we'll sign those at the end of the meeting.
Yes, don't leave without signing.
I will be here as long as needed.
Call a roll, please.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right. Next order of business is the ballot order. And Mr. Cronin, you,
Yep. So today we'll be conducting 2 separate drawings for ballot order for elections occurring August 1st, 2025 through July 31st, 2026. The first drawing will be for 2 political parties in Virginia that meet the definition criteria presented in Virginia Code 24.2101. That is, I have them on slips, Democratic Party and the Republican Party. This drawing will determine number 1 and number 2 order on each ballot in the Commonwealth. The second drawing will be for additional recognized political parties that through Virginia Code 24.2613B have filed sufficient materials to achieve ballot recognition for this November's election. Those are the Libertarian and the Forward Party. So it'll be 2 separate drawings. The second drawing will determine number 3 and number 4 on the ballot, with independents then automatically having the final spot on the ballot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the first 2 party names into these film canisters. They're currently on slips of paper. Place them in the film canisters. We'll roll them around in our lovely bowl, and then a member of the state board will draw 1 canister for the first, the second one for the second, and read aloud the selections. And once we're done drawing names, there's a suggested motion in your working papers. Who's going to be selecting them? Who's going to be drawing the first one? All right, so to recap, the first one that was drawn was the Democratic ticket, and the second one was the Republican ticket. Next, we will do the recognized political parties, Libertarian, Forward Party. All right, to recap, that was the Forward Party and then the Libertarian Party. So now that we're done drawing the names, there's a suggested motion in your working papers for the certification of these determinations.
Would be Democrat and Republican, and then Forward and Libertarian.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board certify the determination by lot of the ballot order for all general and special elections being held August 1st, 2025 and through July 31st, 2026. The order is Democrat first, Republican second, and then Forward first, a Libertarian second.
Right. Second.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right. Last one for you, I promise. So this next one is related to the political party abbreviations for the general and special election ballots. You can see in your materials are the current SB ballot standards and the table of abbreviations to be voted on. Elect staff recommends approval of these abbreviations through July 31st, 2026, as presented in the suggested motion at the end of this memo. I'm happy to take any questions.
Have some questions or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the board approve the party abbreviations as presented by staff for general and special elections being held through July 31st, 2026.
Second.
Call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye. Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long. Aye.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Cronin,
Thank
for
you
your
so
good
much.
work. Next order of business, item 8, ES&S voting system certification. Mr. Andrews.
Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the board. Today in your board papers, you have documents pertaining to the request to certify ES&S EVS voting system version 6.5.0.0 under applicable code 24.2.629. Your document packets include an EAC seal of approval certificate, SLI compliance letter, Chesterfield mock letter, and Commonwealth of Virginia voting system standards for requirements and procedures. On March 13th, ES&S submitted paperwork to start the process to be evaluated for certification of their EVS 6.5.0.0 system in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They submitted their TDP, technical data package, and corporate paperwork required under Phase 1 of the standards and requirements. Their TDP and corporate paperwork were deemed complete and sufficient, and therefore elect moved to Phase 2. Phase 2 of the requirements mean a preliminary review of the state by the state designated evaluation agent, and it was performed. ES&S provided the testing fee, and from May 12th through May 15th, the vendor, the VISTO, SLI, and the state designated evaluator conducted testing and evaluation on the system here at the Department of Elect. In addition to that testing here at the Department of Elect, on May 16th, a mock election was held in Chesterfield County. The county GR, Missy Vera, the chair of the electoral board for Chesterfield County, Rick Michael, and elect representatives were present. The ES&S voting system presented for certification under version 6.5.0.0 successfully completed the Virginia voting systems certification requirements and applicable code 24.2.629. A suggested motion is in your board papers if you don't have any questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board certify the use of election systems and software, voting systems, EVS 6.5.0.0 in elections in the Commonwealth of Virginia pursuant to the state certification of voting systems requirements and procedures.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long. Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Andrews. Next. Ms. Coles?
Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the board. I have before you an amended inquiry as to residency form. So during the 2025 session of the General Assembly, the governor signed into law identical bills, House Bill 1735 and Senate Bill 991. These bills reduce the number of days during which voter registration records are closed to 10 days before all elections except certain special elections. As a result, the reference to the final day of registration on the inquiry as to residency form must be amended, and you've already approved amendments to that final day of registration on the voter registration application. The inquiry as to residency form is utilized when an application to register to vote contains all the information required by law, but may present some other discrepancies as indicated in your memo. And as this form directly correlates with the regulatory language in 1 VAC 2040-50, major revisions cannot be made at this time until the associated regulation is also amended.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the State Board of Elections approve the amended inquiry as to residency form pursuant to Acts of Assembly, Chapters 548 and 559, to be effective July 1, 2025.
All right. Any questions? Call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right, thank you. Ms. Scott, come forward.
Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the State Board of Elections. Today, I am presenting proposed changes to the delegations of authority. The Code of Virginia establishes duties and responsibilities for both the State Board of Elections and the Department of Elections. On an annual basis, the SBE reviews and approves a list of duties and responsibilities it will retain and those it will delegate to elect to be performed on the SBE's behalf. This year, following the General Assembly session, primarily the delegations that are presented reflect changes in Chapter 9.3 of Title 24.2. You'll also see some changes, just some cleanup as we take a holistic view of this document. So if you have any questions, I believe that there is a proposed motion in your board working paper.
All right, any members have any questions? We're required to review these annually.
We just typically, as a policy,
Right.
do it
And
annually.
so
Yes, sir.
these changes are cleanup to some measure, plus what new things the governor.
Correct,
said.
sir.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve the proposed delegations of authority pursuant to the Virginia Administrative Process Act. And I further move that all prior delegations of authority be rescinded.
Second.
All right. Any questions? All in favor?
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Joyner, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman O'Bannon. Esteemed members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to present this on the State Board of Elections electronic meeting policy. ELECT recommends accepting this policy as it is currently enacted with no substantive changes. To provide some key highlights of the policy, as currently approved, the policy requires the State Board of Elections to hold an all virtual meetings in no more than two instances per calendar year, or 50% of the year's meeting, and any member that participates in a meeting remotely for the reasons authorized in Section 3 of the policy is to notify the chair in advance. Additionally, citizens who wish to offer public comment must activate their camera with their faces fully visible. This policy prohibits face coverings not worn strictly for religious or medical reasons. This policy, as enacted, directly reflects the requirements outlined in the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. ELECT recommends that the State Board of Elections approve this policy, the policy for the electronic participation in meetings as it is currently enacted.
This just brings us up to speed with the FOIA law,
Yes, sir.
right? All right. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board adopt the amended policies to conduct meetings through electronic communication means in compliance with Section 2.2-3708.3D of the Code of Virginia to be effective July 1, 2025.
I second.
Great. Absent objection, call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly. Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
Great. Any members have anything else they want to bring forward? Is there a motion for closed session?
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7, I move the board go into closed session for the purpose of discussing pending Breton litigation. In accordance with Section 2.2-3712F, Susan Beals, Commissioner of Elections, and Andrew Murphy and Dennis Polio, Office of the Attorney General, will attend the closed session because of their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the subject of the meeting.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chair.
All right. All in favor, call the roll, please.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right. I want to thank everybody for attending. We'll open the doors in a few minutes again.
Okay.
Michelle, are we open? All right. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to reconvene the meeting in open session and take a roll call vote certifying that to the best of each member's knowledge, only such public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard or discussed by the State Board of Elections.
No second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Dr. Stolly.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson. Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right. There being no additional business other than signing, I do want to call the board's attention to the rose sitting between two thorns there in the back. And we are adjourned.